I did a series of one-shot books for DC between 1998 and 2003 that would focus primarily, for the first 4 of them that I did were all focused upon their most iconic characters, and characters that had this weight of what was then 60 years that had passed for them. And I was doing a new book to tie into each of their 60th anniversaries. So the first one, the superhero that started it all for them, and everybody else pretty much, was Superman. This cover was meant to be boldly impactful on the stands, not just because I had talked DC into letting me do an oversized format, which back when I was a kid, they did a lot of these comics in the 70s that were mostly reprint, a few originals that would reprint a lot of old stuff in large dollar-sized comics, and that means that your comic can have this bigger impact when you see it on the stands. And so the choice to make a big headshot was the thought that, like, okay, it's like the same size as the character's head. What you're seeing there is almost you're eye to eye with that person, and I'm taking advantage of the larger format to make it that much more impactful for you. The headshot for Superman is meant to be reflective of a couple of inspirations. One of them is the original cover for Superman #1 from 1939. And in that cover, he's got this sort of flying pose where he's looking down in this way, and his head is sort of looking down at mankind. So it's not that simple kind of standard superhero shot where the head's up and turned to the side heroically. It's the thought that, in a way, when you're just closing in on this, is a sense of humility for the figure. And the lighting that I did for it was actually meant to be somewhat reflective of the cover, what I intellectualized about the cover for Action Comics #1, where as he's lifting this car to throw down, his head is tilted downward. And I was imagining with the lighting being a little bit cooler and not necessarily, this intense bright lighting on him, but in effect, light coming from below, as if it's the city below him lighting him. And there's a lot of emotions I'm trying to connect with the reader about the way I want you to feel about my version of Superman. This is my first version of doing a version of Superman after the older Superman that I did in Kingdom Come. And I wanted to keep a lot of that sensibility alive while making it grounded in the here and now of, like, this is the eternal Superman. This is the classic that will always be. It's this head. You can almost refine the icon down to this alone.